The pillar was wrapped in ivory silk and anchored with a brass stand, a velvet rope looped between two hooks, keeping guests at a polite distance from the architecture. They put me behind the rope, for I could see everything. The way my mother touched her pearl necklace whenever she lied. The way my sister held her bouquet like a shield. The way my brother-in-law's father worked the room with the mechanical warmth of someone collecting receipts. He shook hands with everyone at my table, the cousin from Portland, the aunt who brought store-bought cookies, even the plus one of a plus one. He looked at me, through me, past me. His hand never left his pocket. I counted. 43 minutes from the ceremony to the first course. 43 minutes of people stepping around the pillar like it was structural, like I was structural. Something to be worked around. Something load-bearing but not decorative, not family. The stranger sat down during the salad course. I hadn't seen him before. He wasn't on the guest list. I knew because I'd studied it weeks ago, back when I still thought I'd be asked to do a reading, hold a ring, stand in a photograph. He just appeared, pulled out the empty chair beside me, and settled in like he'd been there all night. He didn't look at me at first. He unfolded his napkin. He picked up his fork. He took one bite of arugula and goat cheese, chewed slowly, swallowed. Then he turned. "Just follow my lead," he said, "and pretend you're my date." I didn't ask who he was. I didn't ask what it. I just nodded because the strangest thing had happened when he spoke. He looked at me, not glanced, not scanned. He'd actually looked with the kind of attention you give a person you intend to keep talking to. He turned his body toward me when he asked where I grew up. He waited while I answered. When the waiter came around with champagne, he took 2 glasses and handed me one before the waiter could decide I wasn't worth the pour. I drank champagne behind a pillar at my sister's wedding and talked to a stranger about his grandmother's second marriage. She'd married a man who collected ceramic frogs. 200 of them. The wedding was held in their living room, surrounded by frogs, and his grandmother cried not because she was happy, but because she just realized he'd never mentioned his first wife. I laughed. Actually laughed. My sister's head snapped toward the sound. She looked confused. She scanned the table, found me, found him, found us together, 2 people having a genuinely good time at her wedding, and something in her face flickered. She didn't know him. She couldn't place him. She couldn't figure out why the invisible sister was suddenly visible, suddenly accompanied, suddenly part of a pair. The best man gave a speech about golf and bachelor parties. The maid of honor gave a speech about friendship bracelets and crying in bathrooms. Then the microphone was open and my stranger stood. He didn't introduce himself. He just took the microphone, waited for the room to settle, and began to speak. He spoke about my sister, about a loan she'd taken 4 years ago, when she was starting her business, about the terms they'd agreed to, handshake terms, family terms, terms that didn't need lawyers because they trusted each other, about the repayment date that came and went, about the second date extended, about the third ignored, about the recommendation she'd promised to write for his nephew, the one she'd never sent, the one she'd stopped returning calls about. He spoke in dates and amounts, in the calm, specific language of someone who keeps records. Someone who remembers signatures and timestamps and the exact wording of text messages. My sister's smile didn't just stop. It collapsed inward. Her husband put a hand on her arm. My mother's back went rigid because she recognized him now. Not his face, but his name, his claim, his place in the accounting of things her daughter had failed to mention. He finished. He thanked them for the meal. He sat down. The room was different. People looked at me differently, not warmly exactly, but with calculation, with uncertainty, with the sudden need to reassess who I was, who I might know, what I might be capable of. The cousin from Portland leaned forward to ask how we'd met. The aunt with the cookies offered me her card. She did alterations, if I ever needed anything. My stranger finished his drink. He folded his napkin. He said goodnight. He left me with a room full of people who now had to consider the possibility that they'd been wrong about me. that I wasn't just the sister behind the pillar, that I might have connections, that I might matter. I sat there for another hour. People talked to me. People asked questions. People included me in the way you include someone you've just realized could be useful. And I understood for the first time that being seen is not the same as being wanted.